Well, hey, everybody, welcome to today's Business News Podcast. We're glad to have everybody here today. In today's world, especially now in 2023, there's a lot of stuff floating around out there for people in the process of buying a home and what they need to do and should they buy a home and what's it going to really cost me and all those kinds of things. And rightfully so, people should have some sense of concern. I think that about any major purchase, because as we know, your home is probably one of the largest purchases you'll ever make in your life. And it's certainly something that can build equity in your life over a long time. So it's good to have a little bit of wisdom and time about that. Today's guest is an expert in helping people purchase a home from the side of how do you get the money to buy a home. There's some fallacies out there that have existed in the years past that are still floating around in people's ideas and minds. And it's the first thing they think of. Matter of fact, so much that they don't even try to qualify for a mortgage because they think, oh, I can't because X, Y, Z. Well, today's guest, Gary Warstler with Guaranteed Affinity, is going to tell us a little bit about that. Gary, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what's going on. I know you've been on our show before, but we've got some new viewers today. So tell us a little bit about you and the company.
Yeah, I've been with Guaranteed Rate Affinity for 20 years. We are, I think, the fourth largest lender in the country that you never heard of because we don't advertise. We just do it by word of mouth.
Yeah, when you think about that in itself, because for most businesses, most things people see, television, all those kinds of things, it's market. Tell us. Put it out there, and because people got to find you, and in your industry to do that is, I think, a great nod, kind of that global award that you guys get for the fact that you've grown your business doing it that way, because there's nothing like a satisfied customer. There's nothing like a client who's selling a house and say, well, where'd you get your mortgage? Hey, I got it from these people. Great, you should go talk to them. That's its own stamp, especially in today's world where people are more likely to believe the review of a friend that they see about a company than they are just finding something online and going, oh, maybe these people, because there's a plethora of people out there on the internet that you know nothing about. But when somebody's had a good experience, like y'all are able to provide your clients, what better word can you get than that? So I know that for you and your company, that's been a great thing. I know one of the things that we've talked about, and people have these myths in their mind about buying a home, because there's people out there today that, they're in an apartment and the rent keeps going up, or they have a landlord that, is just being difficult, or maybe they got to that place in life where they've outgrown the home they live in because they've had kids, and now they're looking for somewhere else. And, what do I do to do that? How do I make that move to that process? So talk to us a little bit about some of those things that you have. And then I know you've got a special thing you want to share with us today, and tell our audience about that today.
Okay. So there's a couple, I'll say fallacies, I guess, regarding mortgages. One is you don't want to get your credit report pulled because every time you do it affects 20% or 20 points. The second is that you have to have 20% down to purchase a home. And we both know that's not the case. So let's talk about the credit report. There's two rules on a credit report. One is that you can get as many pulled in a 30-day window as you want, and it counts as one. That's the way the mortgage credit report works. But here's the magic. We actually wrote out a new program where we will do a soft pull on a pre-approval. And a soft pull doesn't hit your credit. There's no points that are taken out of them. You can do as many soft pulls that you want, but you're never hurting yourself. That's one of the biggest things that we're working on right now. The second one is that we're trying to develop programs where there's not 20% needed. Can I get into a house for 3%? We have a program now that you can. The rates are actually below the market on a 3%. It's first-time home buyer. And a first-time home buyer is somebody who's never owned a home, somebody who has not owned a home in the last 3 years, or if one of the spouses has not owned a home. So if my wife and I want to purchase, and I've owned a home and my wife has not, we are a first-time home buyer. And with this program, it is 3% down. You do have to have that 3%, but the closing costs, prepaids, and escrows can all be a gift from a relative or the seller, so that you're getting into that house for 3%.
Yeah, I know, and that thing about the 3 years, I didn't know that. I just assumed, first time home buyer meant first time home buyer
Yes.
ever. But it's not. That's good to know, because, some people, they go through situations in life where maybe they sold their house because they could get a lot of money for it, but then they rented somewhere and 3 years have gone by, and now they're thinking, okay, we got to take a big part of our nest egg and go over here and buy another house, not realizing that they could qualify for something like this as a first-time home buyer, because it's been 3 years, 4 years, 5 years since they owned a home. And I think that's great. And I think the credit thing is so important for people to realize, because I think one of the nervous things that people have in their mind when they go shopping for a home is, you mean every house I look at and I have to get some kind of approval for that? They're going to pull my credit and I'm looking at 5 houses and I'm like, no, I can't afford that. Kind of hit on my credit. And I think those are good things to disclaim for people to understand. There's some things you need to know. And I think that's important. If your realtor's not telling you that, maybe you need to look at something else there about that situation. But definitely, if your mortgage person is not helping you understand that, people like Gary, that's what they do. They're here to help you get in that dream that you're looking for, to get in your own home, to own it and have a stable place to stay. And I know from my past in my workforce, work life, we've lived a lot of different places. So we a lot of times we rented. And I think I can tell you 5 times we were really feeling good, really settled in, our kids were in school or whatever. And the landlord sent us a notice saying, oh, by the way, we're selling, you have to move. And I mean, you talk about deflating, you talk about cost, you talk about your kids getting upset, having to change schools because you can't find another place to rent. Oh, that's devastating to families. But here's a program I think that you guys have that can really help people understand, here's what you can go do and make a difference. So tell us a little bit about some of those programs you have, Gary.
Well, one of the really neat things is I sat down the other day and I said, okay, can somebody who comes to me with $4,500 in the bank buy a $260,000 house? Well, wisdom would tell you no. And a lot of people will be, no, I can't do it. But here's the case. FHA allows us to get 6% contribution. Doesn't matter how we get it, they allow it. So we have a program called TSHAC, which is a down payment assistance program that will give us up to 4% back as a forgivable second. So after 3 years, it's gone. You don't have to worry about it. You can get 2 from the seller. That gives us our 6. All of a sudden, you're into a $260,000 house with $4,500 out of your pocket. So it is doable. It absolutely is doable. If you want to buy 200,000, then we can just lessen the money that you need. But we want everybody to achieve the American dream. That's our goal. I'm going to help you get there, whether it's we need credit repair, whether we want a soft pull, whether we need a game plan, whatever it may be. We do it for free so we can get you where you want to be.
So yeah, I mean I think the thing about a game plan is important. I think a lot of first-time home buyers, especially, or somebody that hadn't bought a home in a long time, have all these misconceived ideas about how that happens. And I can see how critical it would be to come to you or somebody like you or somebody on your team and say, hey, I'd like to do this. What can I do? And then you guys are able to sit down and build a plan for them. Maybe they don't have the 45 now, but with a plan, they could have it. Maybe in a few months, maybe in a year from now, and improve their quality of life and the place where they live and those kinds of things. And is so important, I think, in today's market for people, because there's, like I said, the internet's a great thing. I think it's awesome. I'm glad we have it, but it's also a bad thing. There's a lot of misinformation out there that people pick up along the way, and they really never talk to anybody to find out about it because they're a little nervous about, well, if I talk to somebody like Gary, am I obligating myself to something? Talk a little bit about that for somebody that would want to look into building a plan to buy a home.
Yeah. So when you come to me, so we're going to sit down, we're going to do a soft pull. Doesn't affect you. We're going to take a look at your desk. We're going to take a look at your income, job time, all of that. Now we're going to have a game plan. Does that obligate you? It absolutely does not. but it sets aside what you need to do to get where you want to be. If you want to do it in 3 months, we'll make the plan for 3 months. If you want to do it in 6, we want to do it in a year, we'll adapt to that plan. And then you can sit down and say, you know what, I'm where I want to be, but I'm okay with paying rent. Well, then you pay rent. But you at least know that if you want to buy a house, we've got it ready.
Yeah, I think that, I think that's so important, because oftentimes people, they don't know what they don't know. Until they know, they're really in the dark, and certain things can affect them, like a landlord saying, your house is now for sale. Oh man, now what do I do? That's a little late, in the ball game, unless you've had a plan. What, it's okay. We were going to buy a house. We talked to Gary, and we're going to buy a house anyway, so we can make that move. Versus, oh no, now we got to pay for moving, which we'd have to pay anyway. And now we got to put down, a down payment on another place. And there goes some of our money that we could have spent, so there's so many scenarios that could happen to somebody. But if they don't make a plan, they're just subject to what the whims are of things. And so I think that's a really good opportunity for people. Well, Gary, I appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you.
Any parting words that you have here for our viewers that you could help people understand? Here's what you really need to be thinking about and doing.
So the bottom line is, you need to just call me. Call me, let me take care of everything. Get over that scare. It's okay, we're going to get you where I'm. We're not judging, but we want you to get into a house. We don't want you to pay rent for somebody. It's going out the door, you never see it again. Just reach out to my cell phone at 713-387-9873, and we'll take care of everything for you.
Okay, that's great, folks. So you heard his number. Gary, is there a website that they can look at to kind of investigate a little bit? You know how people are, they kind of want to know something first. Who are these people?
You can actually Google my name. Google Gary Warstler at guaranteedrateaffinity.com, and it will all come up. You can see everything about myself and the company.
Okay, great. That is great. Well, again, Gary, appreciate you being on the show. We look forward for you coming back. I know you've always got great stuff to share. Your company comes up with great programs that can really help people. And so we look forward to you being with us again. Any last words you want to share as we close this out?
We appreciate your time. We look forward to talking to everybody.
All right. Wow, what a great show today. I appreciate our guests, each and every one of them, as they come on and are part of the Business Network podcast. You too perhaps might be a business owner and you'd like to feature your business and tell your story, and we'd love to have you as a guest. You can go to the businessnetworkpodcast.com, and you can see the link here on the screen, and just fill out an application. It's not an obligation to be on the show, but we want to start the process with you to be able to say, hey, let's talk about your business and see how this podcast could be a great fit for you, and for you to get the assets that go along with this show to be able to promote your business in a lot of different places. So, hey, thanks again. We look forward to you being with us again on the Business Network podcast. Talk to you soon.